Alright, so now that we're back here, everybody, we're ready to go ahead and start sculpting the details for our fish, our chinner fish here. And let's go ahead and just bring back in our spotlight. And to do that, I'm just hitting Z there. But if you need to go ahead and remake the spotlight, all you can simply do, or all you need to do here, just make sure that you jump back into your texture palette. Select the image of wherever you have it placed, and then just hit the add the spotlight button. So what I want to go ahead and do here, just make sure that I save this spotlight so I can just simply keep loading that. And to do that, I'm just going to call this the chinner fish spotlight, and I'll make sure that I save it here in the chinner fish project folder in my Pixelogic folder where I have all my shortcuts made for this. And we'll go ahead and save this. Okay, and let's go ahead here and start sculpting. And we'll just make sure that we manipulate this bottom fin here real quick. I'm not going to adjust this top fin too much, just a little bit here. Maybe pull this down. Okay, and we'll start here with maybe the side fin here should probably be pulled out a little more. Okay, we're going to start here with the gills. Okay, so I'm just going to jump up 2 subdivision levels here, and just make sure that I adjust my focal shift here. And I'm going to go ahead and mask out an area where I'm going to be pulling that gill out. Okay, we'll just simply invert that mask. I'll go ahead and turn off my spotlight image there. Okay, grab my clay buildup brush. I'm going to turn the intensity down here, and I'm not going to build up a lot. I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit here. Okay, and I'll go ahead and smooth this out a little bit here. And really what I should probably go ahead and do here is maybe make that a little more forward. So let's go ahead and just bring back that spotlight image here, and we'll go ahead and scale this down. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm off of the side fin here a good amount. So we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and re-invert that mask because I don't want to be too close to the fin here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just throw this here. Go ahead and turn that mask off. Go ahead and smooth out here. And I will also draw a mask on the back side of the fin here, or the gill, I'm sorry. Go ahead and invert that so I can pull this in. And we'll just make sure that the brush here is going to be large enough to make sure that it's going to be easier for me to get this in here. Okay. And let's take a look. I want to show you guys something here where you can see the mesh here is being distorted a little bit, and that's fine because once I jump up a subdivision level or 2 more, this is really going to start to smooth out, and we really shouldn't have any problems here. The main goal and what I really want to try to do is make sure that this geometry is actually sitting inside here, because I want the illusion of an actual gill that's on the fish. Okay, so we can go ahead and just manipulate that mask back, or invert that mask back, and basically just push this stuff in, and we'll just make sure that we inflate it here as well, so it looks like an actual gill, and it's going to give us the illusion of thickness on there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and grab our inflate brush here, just a low intensity, and we'll go ahead and just inflate this up. Okay, so you'll notice here where we have a little bit of thickness on that gill. I'm going to go ahead and turn that mask off, I'm going to go ahead and jump up to a subdivision level 4 here. And now I can go ahead and smooth this out. So there you can see where we have that sort of illusion of an actual gill. And we just need to go ahead and start manipulating this, making sure that all this stuff is going to work the way that we want. And we can always, if we want to, go ahead and remask out there. And we'll just manipulate this as much as we possibly can to really go ahead and get the shape and the overall structure that we want here. Okay, we'll go ahead and pull these in. There's really no secret here. You know, it's just a matter of manipulating your mesh as much as you want. Okay, so we'll go ahead and maybe smooth this out here. Just being careful that we don't smooth out too much. Okay. I'm going to also show you guys an interesting way to go ahead and get this fish all scaled out here too, but we just want to make sure that we start by manipulating our mesh to the shape we want. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but that's okay. So maybe now we can go ahead here and start the eyes. So we'll go ahead and just bring back that spotlight. And I'm going to go ahead here and maybe manipulate that gill here before I actually make the eyes. Like I said, I want to match it a little bit. I don't want to match it too much in terms of the actual concept. Okay, so I think that looks okay. Let's go ahead and make the eyes here. And I'm just going to mask out an area where I'm going to put that eye. At least on both sides of the head there. Okay, go ahead and invert that mask. I'm going to jump into my spotlight menu here. Simply by hitting the comma button on my keyboard. Jump into the brush. We're going to go ahead into the miscellaneous folder. We're going to grab the eyes. And I'm just going to simply drag out, trying to drag out in the middle here so that this will actually be fine. And then I can just turn that mask off. I can come in and smooth out what would be the alpha channel here. Okay, and I should probably scale that nose in just a little bit, maybe not too much. And maybe pull that out. Okay. Try and fatten that up a tad. Smooth that out so we don't actually get any indentions there. And let's go ahead and manipulate our eye. And we'll just sculpt our eye here. I'm going to go ahead and take my inflate brush, use the Z sub, go ahead and suck in here. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is just to make sure that I get the exact placement of where I want that eye to be. And I'm just going to go ahead here and append a sphere, because we're going to need it for our eye. I'm not using the Z sphere because this would be more for modeling the entire character. I'm going to go with just a sphere 3D here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select that. We're going to have to zoom out here. We're definitely going to have to scale this down because we can't see our fish model. So we'll go ahead and grab our scale tool here, and we'll just go ahead and scale this down just to make sure that we can put this in the placement for our model. Go ahead and hit W so I can move this, and R, we're going to go ahead, or I'm sorry, E, so we can go ahead and scale this down even more. W, so that we can just go ahead and move this into placement here. Go ahead and scale down a little more. Go ahead and try and get this into the placement that we want here. So it'll allow me to basically build the eye structure around it, and it will just make it much easier for myself to go ahead and build that eye structure. Okay, so I think I'm going to be happy there. And we'll go ahead and just make sure that we reselect our chinnerfish. I'll jump up a couple subdivision levels for our eye there first, and then we'll jump back to our chinnerfish. And we will go ahead here and build our eye structure. To do that, I'm just going to use my regular clay brush, just turning the intensity down to something like 5 should be okay. And I need to just make sure that I turn the scale down there. And I'll just go over this a bunch of different times just to make sure that I can get enough geometry to come over the eye. Go ahead and smooth that down. And it just takes a little bit of patience to get that to work out the way that I want. And you can always use the standard brush to do this, but I tend to like to use the clay brush because that tends to fill the holes in a little better and the indentions in just a little bit easier. Okay, so we'll go ahead and maybe fatten this up here. Oops, make sure that we turn on Z add there. And I'm also going to be using the Move Topological brush. Just makes it much easier to go ahead and get all that structure done quicker. And you'll also notice here where our eye, if we take a look from the top here, is really bulging out. This is different than what a human eye would be. Plus, fish don't really blink. So I'm really thinking ahead here is in terms of what I'm going to be doing for rigging the model, because we don't actually want our fish to blink, so I'm not going to make sure where the eyes are going to be like sitting inside of the head. I want them to be out here because I want to make sure that those eyes are sort of like bug-eyed, and that'll really play into effect, especially whenever we go to rig this character or this module. And I make sure that I'm going to do that for all the modules that I made. And I'll show you an example here in a little bit. So, and right now I'm just trying to make sure that I get all this eye information at least sitting proper. Go ahead and just grab our pinch brush. Try and pinch this stuff up because I don't want the eyelids to be super fat, and you can see where it's actually not sitting right there. So I need to make sure that I pull this down. Okay. I have to pull this out a little bit. And if you want, we can always take a look here at the other side. Let's go ahead and mirror this eyeball over. So we'll just go ahead and select that eyeball, jump into our Z plugin menu, which is also here at the top, and we'll just take the subtool master, mirror it, and we're going to go ahead and mirror it in the x-axis. I'm going to merge it into one subtool because this will just make it easier for me to go ahead and cut those pupils into the model. So go ahead and just mirror this. And I actually should have jumped on to subdivision level 1 there before I actually mirrored it. That's okay. Really no big deal. We'll just jump back here to our chinnerfish body here. Just making sure that I manipulate this mesh more. And I'm really just trying to give him here a little bit of an interesting look. I don't want it to be so standard and so sort of like just basic. I'm trying to make him look at least funny and also a little bit goofy at the same time, if that really makes any sense, which just have to have a lot of fun. That's, you know, basically all this is. Okay, so I think we're okay with the shape here. Oh, that was too much smooth. Go ahead and take our standard brush this time. And make sure that I turn my lazy mouse off there. Go ahead and just jump down to a very, very low intensity. And we'll go ahead and throw in some structure here. Okay. And you can see where that clay brush really comes into play here, where it really builds up fairly quick. And if you use your pinch brush as well, you can really get the stuff done that you want fairly quickly. Okay, so our eye shape isn't necessarily the best eye shape right now, but you know, using the move to topology brush, you can really go ahead and get this done fairly easy. And to bring up that little menu, I'm just using the space bar. And you'll notice that I'm constantly going around the model to make sure that everything is sitting properly and getting shaped, you know, at least the way that I want. And I think I'm going to have to actually fatten that up before I go ahead and use that clay buildup brush there. Yeah. And it's actually saving in progress for us there. And the one thing I can say about ZBrush is it doesn't really crash too much. So with those saves, that auto save feature, if you do have a crash, it's going to be fairly easy for you guys to go ahead and pull any problems back or any files that you tend to lose back very easily. And let's go ahead and push this in. So now you can see where our eye is really starting to come together here. I think we should probably push that back part of the eye in. Pull the bottom out here just a little more. The eye shape out there a little more. Okay, so I think at this point I can probably jump up a subdivision level here. And we'll actually go back here real quick. Use the Damien standard brush here to cut in a little bit of an indentation here for the eyeball. You can see that the lazy mouse is also turned on for this. Okay, we can probably jump up now. Just make sure that we get this lined up at least properly, decently. We'll also grab our inflate brush here, inflate that up a little more. go ahead and pinch here as well. Oh, that's too much pinch. Okay, so that's looking fairly decent here. Go ahead and grab my clay buildup here. And you can see that this just takes a little bit of a steady hand to really get all this stuff done. A little bit. I mean, I'm not the steadiest hands. It just takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so I think we're bug-eyed enough there. Let me fatten that up a little bit. Maybe not that much. I can always, if I wanted to, go ahead and pull that eye out more. I just want to make sure that that bottom eyelet is actually going to be sitting right here. So just have to kindly push that in a little bit. That's okay. Really not, much of a big deal. But I do want to pull out at least a little bit. So I think that looks okay. I think I'm happy with that. Okay, let's go ahead here and cut in our mouth. To do that, I'm just going to take the Damien Standard brush, go ahead and pull back in the spotlight image here. And I need to adjust the mesh here a little bit because our area where our mouth is sort of pointing down. And to do that, I'm just going to make sure that I get the right brush size here. Go ahead and pull that up. Almost like he has like a snout. And like his nose up in the air. Like sort of like he's being kind of stuck up-ish. And we'll just go ahead and grab our Damien Standard brush. And go ahead and mask out the area where I want that mouth. Just making sure that those two touch. Go ahead and invert that mask. And maybe turn the intensity up there just a little bit so it's going to be kind of easier to get that cut in. And I think it has to go up maybe to 9 should be okay. Okay, so go ahead and turn that mask off and just grab our Damien Standard brush here and just work our way through cutting in the lips where the mouth would actually be here. And you can see that I tend to go over these sculpt areas many different times in terms of strokes because I just want to make sure that I get that right amount of detail in the model. And if you want, you can always take your inflate brush and fatten up the lip here a little bit, just so that there is sort of that edge on the lip. You don't want it to be overly edgy. Okay. And at this point, I think I'm going to go call it a pause for this lesson. Then in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and come back and finish sculpting up our fish. So come on back, everybody.